Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Luli Gaggle podcast. Today, we have another episode, a day in the life episode. I'm loving these episodes. You guys are too, so I cannot wait to share this one with you. We are sitting down with Kelly U, who you probably know her as, who is a content creator, mental health advocate, and self-proclaimed IBS girly. We get into it. She's also very passionate about sober living and sharing honest stories about mental health, digestion, anxiety, and recovery. This is such an open and honest conversation, and she really goes through some of her habits that kind of go against the grain of like healthy talk. And I'm thinking like her coffee routine or her morning me time. So good. They're going to make you feel so seen. And if you have the Luli app, we do have an extended Q&A with Kelly there. So be sure to give that a listen. She gives such great realistic advice as you're going to see from this episode. And if you don't have the app, you can check the description for a link to that. And a friendly reminder, if you do love the podcast, it would be absolutely amazing if you gave it a rating, a review on whatever platform you are listening to, or app users, hop on over to your chosen podcast platform and give a rating and review there. We would absolutely love it. It helps us understand what types of episodes you like. Do you like the more interviews? Do you like the more day in the life ones? And it helps us keep getting more and better guests. So we would absolutely love if you took a moment to do that. And once you're done with that, go ahead and come back to this episode. Thank you so much in advance for taking a moment to do that. But let's get this convo going with Kelly.
When I was 19 years old, I started to realize that I was struggling with severe binge eating disorder. I remember scrolling on Instagram, absorbing all of that obsessive workout content, like clean eating and CrossFit. And I was like, well, that looks like a perfect solution to my body dysmorphia and eating issues that I've had since I was a kid. I grew up in a really tumultuous house. I love my parents very much, and they've worked really hard to get to where they are now, and we have a great relationship. But most of my younger years, I couldn't wait to get out of that house. I couldn't wait for them to separate, and I couldn't figure out any ways to regulate my emotions. So I binge ate. I was in really unhealthy, abusive relationships. I just had a very chaotic life that I built around myself, and I had no idea that I was doing that. I have also struggled a lot with addiction. I was addicted to smoking weed for more than 10 years, and it was like my best friend. And I've had a lot of arcs in my life, and I think so many of us can relate to that because we change so much from when we're 10 to 20 to 30, and we're going to keep changing all the time. And I have finally, I think, figured out how to find fulfillment and grounding in my life without constantly running around like a chicken with my head cut off, because that was really what my whole life was. And now I'm a full-time content creator living in LA, about to move to New York. And I love to share a lot of just my really raw personal experiences when it comes to having been in a toxic relationship, how I confronted my parents and convinced them that we all needed a better relationship. And I'm in a really healthy, beautiful, loving partnership right now. And I love to just share a lot of the things that when I was 19, I kept Googling and looking on YouTube for. So a lot of it seems like it might be others, but I will say it probably is just for me. A lot of the work is selfless, but I think a lot of it is just for the younger self.
You've come a long way with your typical routines now. Do you feel like it's drastically different from how it was kind of at that 19-year-old phase?
If you told me at 19 that I'd be someone who could go to bed at 8:45, I woke up and didn't hate myself, I could eat meals at what feels like normal times as everyone else on the planet, I'd be so shocked because when I was 10, I developed anorexia. Didn't know that at the time. And then after that, no proper treatment, no family was acknowledging of that. They were kind of like, oh my God, are you okay? I was forced to start eating. And binge eating was like my way to escape the world. Didn't know I had ADHD. So I would stay up till 5 a.m., 6 a.m., finishing my schoolwork and binge eating. That was kind of how I did my life. And only through therapy, I could even recognize those patterns. So now at 32, it's like, it seems like when you look at people that have it all together, that go to bed really early, love to stretch and get sun and work out and go to therapy, that's typically someone who had the complete opposite life before. And I didn't know that as a kid. I would look up to these people and feel so mortified by what my present life was. And I felt like I was just like this little monster that had all these mental diseases, frankly. And I thought I was a total alien. But as I've grown up and asked people, like, how did you do this? How did you become this person? I feel so much less alone knowing it's literally a journey we're going to be on kind of forever, trying to figure out what works best for us. And I would be shocked. I mean, I literally go to bed at 9 and wake up at like 5 or 6. It's so funny.
I love that. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of it. One question, what would you say is kind of that catalyst for getting yourself to a place where you do kind of start that journey and working on yourself, getting you to get towards that place of where you are today?
I hate to say this, but I really think that there's no reason to change, ever make a change in your life until something bad really, really happens. And that's how I've lived my life for a long time until now. I kind of felt like negative reinforcement was the way to be. So, like, you suck so much, you really got to figure it out. Your life is absolute crap. You got to change. That's what brought me to therapy for the first time. I was like, I just need to fix my binge eating. It's just that helped me. And I really didn't learn about things like self compassion or working on yourself or learning to love all parts of you because I think a lot of the inner work before we even get to the freaking yoga and the sun and the magnesium, whatever the heck I love now, it doesn't come without being like, what is even going on with me? Literally. And that's not the fun part to explain to anybody. And not everyone has to go to therapy. I think a lot of now people have a lot more to like look at on social media to be able to
Mhm.
self-reflect. I just didn't have any of those skills. But I think also when I was like 25, I had finally left a really abusive relationship. And so even though I was going to therapy from like 22 to 25, I was still engaging in some really bad stuff. So once again, until you're ready, maybe it's not going to happen.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I am excited to hear about what your life looks like today. Talk us through your wellness.
Okay, so for context, I'm a very constipated IBS girl. Have been for a very long time. There was one time a few years ago when I didn't poop for 10 days. So a lot of my life has been run by being forced to have a routine just so I can like use the bathroom and feel okay every day. And I really do think that my best days start with an early night. And this doesn't happen all the time. I mean, I love to travel. I love to see my friends, but I don't go out. I don't drink. I don't party. And not because of any judgment. I'm just like, nah.
I like my
So
bed.
yeah, I really love an early dinner. I like to eat dinner by 6, and because of my digestion stuff and being a gassy, bloated person, I like to make sure I can digest it and enough time to go to bed, but I also think it's really important to be full enough so that I don't wake up hungry. It's something you always should, like, kinda think about, but every night before bed, I love to do a magnesium powder. I believe the form of it is like a magnesium citrate, so there's brands like Calm or
Mhm.
Bio-Optimizers that I really like. They have flavored ones that can kind of be like a yummy fizzy drink, but I like the unflavored because usually I have my Invisalign in by then and I've already brushed my teeth by 8 o'clock. And by 8:45, I'm in bed reading my Kindle. I love a psychological thriller and I take my trazodone so that hopefully I fall asleep by 9:30. And trazodone is something I take because my whole life I've really struggled with a lot of anxiety and stress and specifically insomnia. And it sounds like I have a really good routine, but reminding you that I'm 32 and between the ages of 12 and 25, I was a severe insomniac who didn't know what ADHD was. So I would stay up all night trying to finish something that was due the next morning. I would binge eat to try to keep energy. And it was a cycle. And I think a lot of us probably know that or know someone who is. So I don't want to make it seem like I figured it out. My tools of trazodone, it knocks me out so I can sleep all night and feel really rested when I wake up. I love to wake up probably after an 8-hour sleep. So by like 6, I'm up, 5:36. I drink a big thing of water and then I make a 20-ounce warm cup of milk, like a coconut milk or an almond milk or soy milk with powdered coffee, like instant coffee. And I got this from growing up, my grandma, my mom, like we didn't have a lot of money. So instant coffee was like a staple in our house and I love it. I don't know, it just brings me comfort and it's easy and I'm embarrassed when I say this, but I really like to just like watch a show. When I wake up, it could be Real Housewives, it could be The Summer I Turned Pretty, it could be anything, but I think my morning time is really important for me to feel like I have time for myself because I don't stay up late at night.
Mhm.
But a lot of people think that like I wake up and like go to the gym right away. I'm like, no, 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 like
You mentioned Real Housewives. You mentioned The Summer I Turned Pretty.
girl,
Both
yeah.
things that I watch.
Do you really?
I
Ugh. It's
Yeah.
such a it's like and it's sometimes some of my friends are not into it. I'm like, "Wait, how are we friends?" Because I'm very passionate about those 2 things. I love young adult love, like first loves and romance, and I love watching older women have their disagreements.
I do too. And I wonder sometimes if it's just because, like, it's so drastically different
Yes.
than my own life. And it's just like, I think it's a way for me to just shut my brain off and to not have to kind of just like really just kind of like escape a little bit. To be honest, Colleen knows she's going through a rough time when I am watching too much Real Housewives. I'm like, okay, am I
Right.
now avoiding my life?
Yeah.
It's like, let's kind of check that out a little bit. How long have you been taking magnesium for?
Magnesium, I would say like probably 3 years.
Okay.
Trazodone, I've been doing for 2 years. I found a really great psychiatrist when we moved to LA. And this is something that I was always really not ashamed about personally, but like when I didn't have insurance, I was like, how the heck am I going to pay for a
Hmm.
psychiatrist? And as someone who works for myself, we literally buy insurance by ourselves. Like none of this is glamorous. None of this is easy. You have to find someone in your network. It's a whole freaking thing.
Hmm.
And so when I started really struggling more and more with my sleep and realizing that I do a lot of caffeine anyway, but just knowing that I was not waking up feeling rested and it affected me so much, I was like, well, I could talk to my psych about this because I'm already taking something for anxiety. I'm taking an antidepressant. Not a big pharma person, but I'm a big tools person.
Use your tools. Yep.
Yeah, and there are a lot of times where I have felt like, "Oh, let me try not doing it." And that's great. Like if I have thrived at times like that, but most of the times I just don't. My brain is a certain way, and I've made a lot of lifestyle changes. I go on a walk every day. I exercise in some way every day. I move, I get sunshine, I stretch, I do weight training, I socialize, I journal. Times it's still not enough and like that's okay. I think everyone needs to find the combination that helps them because some of us are just not as blessed as others when it comes to like having a steady equilibrium. I've never had a steady equilibrium in my whole life, but I do think I do now because of my meds, my tools,
Hmm.
my support system, and the lifestyle I force myself to like stick with a routine every day.
Are there certain times of day that you do this?
Okay, so my walks are very, very planned out just because right now in LA it's so friggin' hot.
Oh my gosh, I
So it
bet.
has to be before 10 a.m. or at 7 p.m. right before the sun
Okay.
sets. But I think those are really nice for me because I wake up pretty groggy and once I have my coffee, I'm like, okay, I've had caffeine, might as well move a little bit to get the blood flowing. I'm also someone who's like really puffy in the morning. Everyone's different. I just feel very puffy and I think getting moving really helps me feel more awake. There's
Hmm.
something about getting the blood moving that really helps me. And I'm lucky I have a dog. I actually adopted a rescue 10 months ago. His name is Penny. And I think having him and his me feeling motivated to make sure he gets his energy out was actually a big motivator to start fostering a dog. I did not plan to adopt him though. I was actually just going to foster and I was struggling a lot with my mental health. This was in December of last year. So hello,
Hmm.
seasonal depression.
Yeah.
And I actually always believed that I would be way too overwhelmed by a pet, even though I really wanted one because I'm overwhelmed by life. Okay. Every day I'm
Hmm.
just trying to get through the day.
Yep.
And once I had a dog, I realized that it helped me think about something outside of myself.
Hmm.
Even though I do need to focus on myself, make sure I'm okay, it kind of just becomes like, okay, you're obsessed with how you're doing all the time. Like who cares? Do something for him. And in turn, it's really helped me because I'm someone who growing up I would always daydream, numb out, binge eat, smoke weed. I've always had addictive issues. And so having a pet, you always have to be pretty with it. I gotta make sure has he gone to the bathroom every few
Hmm.
hours? Does he need to go outside? Has he eaten? It's actually really helped me to be very much more present. But I wouldn't suggest getting a dog just for that. But if you're at a place in your journey where you're like, yeah, that'd be a great tool, I think that's great too.
I love that. Love that so much. And what about journaling?
Colleen, when I said I journal, the last time I journaled was a month ago. It sucks, but journaling is the hardest thing for me. Only times I've really done it so much is when I was doing really badly mentally. And that's not a good thing because it shouldn't be the last thing I pick up, but I'll be
Hmm.
honest, and it is. I actually had a friend in New York who was journaling all the time, and that's the only reason I journaled is because we were sitting by the water in Brooklyn at night, and she's like, "I'm gonna journal," and I was like, "Oh, me too. Yeah, totally." And then I did. Sometimes I really wish I was more regimented and I really would really judge myself for it. But if you can do all your other tools,
Yeah.
just do what you can. But like definitely have a journal at least have one. I have one on my desk that I just look at and I just go, nah. At least I have one though.
Do you think that there's something to say about that though, of just like having that? Sometimes it's just like a comfort to know that that tool is there for you.
At least you cared enough for yourself to try it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes that's
Yes.
it. There are times in your life when you can be like, I don't care about myself at all. I'm not even going to get something for myself. So hello,
Mhm.
that's progress in itself.
Mhm. Yes, 100%. Is there anything in terms of
Yeah.
specific foods or anything like that?
I think me who I struggled with anorexia when I was 10 years
Mhm.
old. This was obviously when I looked deeper into it. Anytime you start to realize why you did it, I actually don't think a lot of my eating disorder was based on control, but more so numbing out. So a lot of people, want to control their food and hyper focus on it because it makes them feel more empowered. For me, if I was hyper focusing on that constantly 24/7, I couldn't pay attention to the chaos in the house. So
Mhm.
while that may seem to people like I was trying to take control, I just wanted to fade away into my brain because I was constantly doing 1,000 jumping jacks at home. I never sat down. I refused to drink water and I wouldn't eat. So if I'm focused on making sure I only eat a fourth of a sandwich and don't go to the bathroom all day, I don't have time for listening to what's going on at home. So now that I've done so much work in therapy and worked through all those things, every day still I have to remember to nourish myself without the judgment, not trying to plan everything out, not trying to make sure that I'm focused on under eating, even though I definitely have healed my relationship with food tenfold. It's still a subconscious thing. Like you don't just totally stop counting deep down. You don't totally stop thinking, is this balanced? Am I getting enough
Mhm.
XYZ? Which is great. Like you want to make sure you're getting enough protein,
Mhm.
fats, and carbs. But I think that when you have always had a hyperfixation on what food is going to do with your body, you always have to relax.
Mhm.
So I do make sure I eat breakfast. I make sure I have a lunch and I make sure to have dinner. And I make sure I have a dessert. And every day I just try to make sure that I do have a balanced thing. I try to let myself have the things I'm craving, which sounds so basic, but I think everyone needs to remind themselves to do that. It's such a
Mhm.
basic thing. It's like, well, yeah, but it makes your life a lot
Hard.
happier too.
Mhm.
Hydration's really big to me. I actually think I definitely overhydrate. I drink a lot of water.
Now, do you put anything in it? Are you a plain water drinker?
I'm a room temperature water
I am too.
person. Are
I can't
you?
do cold
People
water.
think it's so disgusting, and I'm like, I know, but like cold water, unless it's really hot out, yes, I want
Yes.
ice cold water.
Yeah.
I am a big sparkling water and a big Diet Coke person.
Girl, we are two peas in a
Obsessed.
pod.
I could drink 3 Diet Cokes, 3 Coke Zeros, lime sparkling water, I'll drink some tap water too. So, but I have no judgments against that. I really don't care.
It counts as hydration. I Would you mind getting into any like your journey with meds and
Mhm.
kind of like what that's looked like?
This is the first time in my life where I feel like I really have a great psychiatrist and great meds. When I first started my medication, I think a lot of us probably have that story. You're young adult, probably in
Mhm.
college or before then. You go to a psychiatrist, you're like, this guy's old and doesn't care about me. He's just gonna write a script. I'm gonna try it. I tried like I don't even know, like Lexapro maybe. I had crazy night sweats and just stopped doing it
Mhm.
because I'm like 20 years old. I'm like, I don't
Right.
know what to do. And I'm just like, forget it, never doing it again. And then I just did talk therapy for a long time, which was great. But when I was in my early 20s, I started realizing it's back, which it never went
Mhm.
away. Hello. I tried some other ones, but then you just sometimes you cannot afford the appointments. That's where I was
Mhm.
at. I would go to a couple and then fall off and then wouldn't fill my prescriptions because you have to pay for the appointment to get the prescription written. And I just didn't want the responsibility. And because of my mental health, I actually felt like I didn't have the energy. That's the
Mhm.
real truth. And then now I'm 32. I think when I hit 30, I was like, I'm really gonna take control of this because when I hit 30, I started reflecting a lot about like where I am. And
Mhm.
I had been in a really abusive relationship for a long time in my 20s, and the PTSD that I was experiencing was really extreme. So I went to my therapist, and they were like, maybe a psychiatrist. And I found a really great one in LA who I felt like I really trusted. And I'd never had a psychiatrist who really wanted to hear about my life. Like he sat me
Mhm.
down for a whole hour and asked me a lot of questions. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And I started taking something for anxiety. And I also started taking something for depression. So right now I take Prozac for anxiety, the lowest dose, because I'm only 4'11". So everyone's different. The doses are different. I take bupropion for depression because it's kind of like a stimulant, which I was very afraid of for a long time. But because I'm an
Mhm.
ADHD person, it's actually so hard for me to feel motivated or focused. It's something that often leads to depression. If you can't like get your stuff done, you feel like you're a loser and you're useless and you can't do anything. And I have been consistent with those. And then for sleep, I take trazodone. And this is all under the guise of a psychiatrist. I actually have a follow up with him today. I have to follow up with him every 3 months, but that is a commitment when you don't want to face your shit. If you don't want to face
Mhm.
your shit and you don't want to get treated for your shit, you're not going to do your follow ups. But now I'm like, this is who I am. This is what I want to work on. And I actually feel really proud of it, which is crazy because thinking back to 20-year-old me, I would never want to tell anyone anything. I don't
Mhm.
know you. You're a freaking stranger. But now I'm like,
Yes.
help me. I want
Yeah.
help. I want tools. I used to say that all the time. And I still feel like this applies to a lot. Once I woke up, I couldn't go back to sleep. And
Yeah.
that kind of awakening you have in many aspects of your life is so true. Even if I wanted to be like
Mhm.
this toxic, mentally unwell person, I actually don't know if I could because it would just feel
Mhm.
really,
Yeah.
wouldn't even match where I am right now. But that
Yeah.
comes with time, like just time and falling many, many times. I have failed and fallen a billion times, which is just part of it. I remember my partner, my boyfriend, he is most supportive, but he has not struggled with his mental health like me. So I remember he was like, oh my God, you're taking medication? And I was like, oh my God, I have to teach you too. Like, you're not, he's actually a Gen Z, like, he's younger than me. And so I was like, you should know, like, what is the stigma affecting you? Like,
Right.
what? So I was like, okay, I also have to talk to you. Like, I talk to my parents.
Oh my
It's not
gosh.
even because they're ignorant, they just don't know.
Yes.
So they are so freaked out by, like, what's the symptoms going to be? What is your side effects? And so it's really just hard when you have to have enough people around you who get it. But even if you don't, it's between you and your provider. And there's a lot of people online who can affirm your experiences. Not everyone's going to get it. And that's okay.
How do you stay motivated to kind of keep working on yourself or to kind of like keep these routines, keep doing these things that help you feel good?
Boy, I think if I wasn't in a romantic relationship, which isn't to say that everyone needs one, but sometimes when you're in such close proximity to someone, it's a full on mirror
Mhm.
to how you behave, where your mental health is, how you react and respond to each other. And I remember when I first met my boyfriend, we've been together for almost 4 years. I had never been in a healthy relationship. So when I started to interact with him and some of my old behaviors were coming out, I was like, hmm,
Mhm.
interesting that he's not one responding in the toxic ways I thought he would.
Mhm.
Two, I'm bringing a lot of my old shit from my past, not even just that relationship, just like a lot of my own struggles into this. He's
Mhm.
not a part of that. That was a kind of a wake up call for me because I wasn't able to enjoy my current life with him without working through the past.
Mhm.
Not everyone is always affected by their past, but it's really hard for your physical body to shake off a lot of what has happened before. These learned behaviors, these mindsets, these survival and coping mechanisms. That was like all I had. I just knew how to react to not make things happen again. But he's like, I don't even know what you're saying half the time, and you're
Mhm.
freaking me out. And he didn't say it in a judgmental way, but I think that when we interact with people that are not toxic, it's actually really confusing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. And I think that sharing a lot of my therapy lessons I learned ever since I started going to therapy in my 20s, I just randomly would post that online. That's kind of how I got started on social media. I do feel like there's an accountability piece, which I'm
Yeah.
grateful for. It's not like you're living for others, but if you do share insights online, you do want to make sure that you're following up with your own advice, living that.
Mhm.
And I think that when having a long history of struggling with my mental health, my self as motivation is not always enough, even though it is all intrinsic. Accountability with addiction, with healthy relationships, all aspects of your life recovery are so important because you need people in your life to check up on you and keep you on the journey because just you can slip, which is not a problem, but you'll be like, whatever. I can't do that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I could not agree more. Just having that accountability is huge.
Yeah, I would say my accountability voice in myself is like, man, don't you want to like feel better? It's that.
Mhm.
It's not the what is wrong with you? You're messing up. It's like the choices you're making today. Do you want to feel filled or whole or grounded today? And I'm like, damn, I guess I do.
Are there any health or wellness trends that you either have tried and are like, can't do it, not for me, or that you're just like, I just can't get down with that?
I have this like ironclad, like, I'm not going to listen to any diet trends or things
Mhm.
like that, but there's no way to say that they don't subconsciously creep in.
Mhm.
So I would say that things that sometimes can seem toxic, like Pilates, for example, what's like all the trend about it. I have actually enjoyed it because my struggle was always doing really intense workouts
Yeah,
and injuring myself.
I can see
So
that, yeah.
people can be like, Pilates is obsessed with, like, yeah, the bodies they use to promote it or the lifestyles are not attainable. But if we really think about just our own personal needs, there are things we can take out of it and make our own judgments, I would
I
say.
love that. Do you do reformer Pilates? Is it mat Pilates?
I was doing mat Pilates for a long time and I used to go to
Okay,
hot Pilates and now I'm kind of
okay.
like, I don't know if that was me trying to like sweat a lot. Like I might have healed a lot, but I'm not sure sometimes what's motivating me.
Yeah.
And even in the last year, I've transitioned from doing hot Pilates to just reformer.
Mhm.
And reformer just means you're kind of on a machine. It tends to be a lot less impact. And like right now on my journey, I'm enjoying that
Mhm.
because I
I love
am a
that.
very anxious, stressed person. So, but hey, catch me in a year doing sweaty Pilates. Who
Yeah.
knows? I don't know.
Thank you for just giving us the rundown, being open and honest with us. I think you probably motivated so many people who are just listening, and everyone probably feels so seen. So thank you for that. Anything else you want to leave us with, and where can everyone find you?
Thank you for having me. I also have a podcast. It is called Stomach This, and you can find that on YouTube or anywhere you listen to your podcast. It's basically me having tough conversations that are hard to swallow, but Stomach This is kind of a really fun, approachable way to bring some light to things that we kind of always feel we can't talk about. But as you all saw and heard in this conversation, I'm not really afraid to go there because I think that we all truly think a lot and feel a lot of the same things. So it's not even a unique experience after a while. So check me out on some of this. And if you want to find me on social, it's just Kelly with the letter U. And I'll see you there soon.
What a fabulous conversation. I swear I had like a smile on my face the whole time I was talking to her. She is just such a great. I loved also the note about her coffee and the note about her grandma. Oh, my heart melted at that point. But let's do a little bit of fact checking for Kelly's routine. It's always super interesting to hear about people's routines, but it's so important to know the why behind them and the actual science to see if it's going to be something that would help you. So, first of all, regarding screen times and well being, this was really interesting because most research always focuses on really excessive recreational screen time, right? Which has been associated with things like anxiety, depression. However, this is really important that context matters because intentional low stress screen time, like a comforting TV show in the morning, can be pretty neutral or even supportive. If it's an act of self care, kind of like what Kelly was talking about. Then she also talks about how she takes magnesium, which is an essential mineral involved in neurotransmitter balance and stress regulation. We do have a full blog post on this that I can link for you guys, but there is research to show that it may support relaxation and sleep in some people. Shows in some cases sleep quality, mood, and daytime functioning can be improved. However, evidence is still emerging, and magnesium is best viewed as a supportive aid with a larger bedtime routine, which we really love that about Kelly. She's not really sole on one thing. It's really all of these things are tools in her toolbox that can work together. So we love to see that. As always, be sure to talk about this with your medical provider. In the blog post, we do have different recommendations if it is something that you want to dive into a little bit more and are wondering what kind do I take? How much do I take? We've got you covered there. And trazodone medication that she gets, originally developed as an antidepressant, but commonly used off label to promote some of these sleep patterns, always under the guise of a prescription with a health care provider. So, again, as used as part of a wider approach that includes good sleep hygiene and consistent routines, which Kelly is all over. We love, love, love her mindset and approach to health and wellness about how everything is a tool in her toolbox and those tools can ebb and flow. And it's about finding the tools that work for you. So we hope that Kelly's combo today gave you maybe an idea of a tool that you could implement to help you, whether it's, one of them that she listed, whether something else came to mind. We would love to hear your take and your feedback on her conversation and if it sparked any ideas for you. But thank you so much for tuning into another episode. If you did enjoy this episode, again, we would love if you took a moment to give this podcast a rating and a review on whatever platform you're listening to. App users, please hop over to your chosen platform, whether it's Apple Podcasts, whether it's Spotify, whether you're watching on YouTube. Yes, all these videos are available on YouTube as well. We would love just a simple, like I said, subscription, follow wherever you are watching. We cannot wait to bring you more of these day in the life. They are so interesting, and I just think spark such good conversations. So if you have anyone in your life who you think would enjoy these too, we'd also love if you just sent this on to them. We really just want to encourage more people to think about these things and to get information that they can feel is trustworthy and reliable. So thank you so much for being here, tuning in, and we will see you back next week with another episode. Thank you so much, and we'll see you then.